Welcome to Ask an Expert, where a technical product expert answers questions from our customers. Hello, this is John Appleson, Marketing Manager with Pepperl+Fuchs. So welcome, Tracy, and thanks for being here.
Hi, John. Thanks for asking me.
This first question asks about our WCS 3B-LS22-1S Readhead. The customer states that the housing frequently gets damaged. He wants to know if he can buy replacement parts for this sensor separately or if he has to send the sensor in for repairs.
Well, we do offer some replacement parts for WCS Readheads. I believe the part this customer is referring to is the housing cover, which is the green part of the housing that can be removed using the 4 screws on the slot side of the Readhead. That is available as a spare part. Also available is a replacement mounting plate, which is the black flat piece with mounting holes that fits into the grooves of the housing cover, and replacement lens covers, which are the transparent parts located inside the Readhead slot. The main part of the housing, which holds the circuit boards, optical components, and connector, is not offered as a spare part, so if that's damaged, the Readhead can be returned to us for repair.
Tracy, this customer would like to know the difference between the NJ60-FP-E2-P2 and the NJ60-FP-E2-P2-V1.
The FP housing, FP stands for flat pack, generally has a terminal compartment for connection, where a customer would bring a cable in to hardwire the device. That configuration is NJ60FP-E2-P2. If there's a V1 included at the end of that model number, it means that an M12 connector has been added to the terminal compartment and pre-wired for the customer. In this case, he would need a cord set for connection, for example, V1-G-BK2M-PVC-U.
This next customer would like to know what load the MBB2-V3-US inductive sensor needs to see for bench testing. He states that the sensors will be wired as a 24-volt DC input to a PLC digital input card. Tracy, what's the answer here?
Well, that's a 2-wire sensor, and it will only operate correctly with a load-in series. Otherwise, the current through the sensor will be too high. A PLC digital input card is the type of load that these sensors were designed for, so NBB2V3US should operate well with the load the customer is planning to use in his application. If the PLC is not available for bench testing the sensor, the customer can use an appropriate power supply and an alternate load such as a relay coil or resistor. Regardless of the type of load selected, it's important that the resulting operating current in the circuit falls within the range listed in the sensor datasheet. In the case of NBB2V3US, that range is 5 to 200 milliamps. So at 24-volt DC, I would recommend a load value of between 500 and 2,000 ohms.
In this next application, the customer has our LS680-DA-EN/F1 optical data coupler and would like to know what the minimum separation distance should be. He also needs to know what the preferred mounting configuration should be when multiple optical paths are used on the same equipment. Tracy, what can you suggest here?
LS680 data couplers operate in pairs, with an F1 unit installed opposite an F2 unit. If more than one pair are being used near one another, then in order to avoid mutual interference between them, they should be mounted so that the light spot created by each F1 unit will only fall on its corresponding F2 unit and vice versa. The easiest way to accomplish this is by reversing the position of the units in the second pair of data couplers, putting F1 of one pair next to F2 of the adjacent pair. This way, we don't have to worry about the minimum separation distance between two of the units.
For this final question, a customer doesn't know where to find a model number on a proximity sensor. Tracy, where can the model numbers be found?
Since we have quite a variety of housing styles and materials, many of them very small, finding and identifying number can be challenging. Each of our products has both a model number and a 6-digit item number, and usually both can be found on the product. Places to look include on the main housing of a plastic rectangular model, on the plastic face of a cylindrical model, on the cable near the housing of a cabled model, or on a label near the connector of an all-metal model. In all these cases, adequate lighting and a magnifying glass will come in handy when trying to read the small print.
Well, that concludes this segment of Ask an Expert. I want to thank Tracy for joining me today and thank our audience as well. For additional information, here are 5 easy ways to connect with us.